for the third time and said, neighbor, you can be locked in, but not locked out. Because when they threw Paul and Silas in the jailhouse, the Bible said that something continued, which was praise and worship. Which means you can be locked in, but your worship ought not to be locked out. Turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, I may not feel as good as I used to, but I still ought to be able to worship God. I may be locked out of your clique, and I may be locked out of your conversation, but as long as I got worship, I ought to be able to make a joyful noise. And how many of you know that in order to prove that I'm not locked out, it's because when I get in trouble, I don't have to call on man, but I can call on God. Sometimes you got to have an anyway spirit. You got to have an anyway testimony. You got to have an anyway worship. Slap your neighbor for the third time and say, neighbor, anyway you bless me, do I have a witness here? I'll be satisfied. Anyway you get me out of this situation, I will be satisfied. Anyway you choose to come into my life, do I have a witness here? I will be satisfied. Do I have anybody here that wants to have an anyway praise? Because God said you can be locked out, but your worship ought to be locked in. Because when you get in trouble, you ought to be able to call. Do I have a witness here? Upon the name of the Lord. And that's why I want to close here, my brothers and my sisters. Because the Bible says they that call upon. Have I got a witness here? The name of the Lord. The Bible says that thou shalt be saved. And when you call upon God, God will open a door for you. When you call on the Lord, God will heal and answer the fervent prayers of the righteous. Do I have a witness here? Do I have anybody here that know how to call on the name of the Lord? I will call them up. Do I have a witness here? Call them up and tell them what you want. Stop your neighbor for the fourth time and say, neighbor, we're not locked out, but we're locked in. We're not locked out, but we're locked in to God's saving grace. And the reason why we're not locked out is because God has been too good to us. Do I have a witness here? The reason why we're not locked out is because God made a way for us. The reason why we're not knocked out is because when you get in trouble, God will get you out of trouble. When God comes, he may not come when you want him to come, but he's always. Have I got a witness? Yeah. I say he's always on time. Turn to your neighbor, say, neighbor, he's an on-time God. God will come to your rescue. You can be locked in, but not locked out. Have I got a witness here? When you're locked in, and when you're not locked out, that's when you can call on the name of the Lord. Come on, give God some praise. Come on, give the Lord some praise. I mean, come on, give the Lord some praise. Come on, give us a neighbor. I'm locked out, but not locked in. God will open the door for you, no matter what situation you're in, to be able to have deliverance, to be able to be set free, to be able to have a better understanding as to who he is. Remember, the church has always been in a tough situation.
Yes, sir.
But that don't mean that that's the end of the story. You got to go back and look at history. They tried to drown the church. They tried to burn the church up. They tried to kill the church. But the church still stands today. Give God some glory for this house. Give God some glory. Come on, give God some glory for the living in the family. 55 years. 55 years. Oh, bless the name of the Lord. Bless the name.
We thank God for the message and the messenger. Amen. The doors of the church is open. You may come by ladder, Christian experience, and everything baptism.